Hi, everybody. Well, you talked over my hello, didn't you?
Sorry, I didn't know how serious we were about starting.
That's okay. We're this serious. Welcome to Super Breakfast Friends Club. I'm Mike, and this is not me.
No, I'm not. I'm extremely ill.
But we're bringing this episode to you anyway because we care.
Mike has propped me up on my deathbed and stuck a microphone in my face.
Let's play a theme song.
Listen, I got so jazzed listening to this theme song, and then I was like, oh no, I'm watching F-Zero.
Yeah.
I thought I was watching a better anime.
It does have it's been about a week since we both watched it, and I don't remember the song anymore, but I think it's pretty good.
I remember it. I don't know why. It haunts me a little bit. It doesn't. I remember like the opening instrumental part, and then it turns into the song Can't Defeat the Airman.
The episode we watched this time was Captain Falcon, the second episode, or the second lap as they call it.
I do enjoy that.
This aired on TV Tokyo on October 14th, 2003. Ryu and Jack are racing. His name's Ryu in the Japanese version. His name's Rick in the English version. I'm probably mostly going to call him Ryu.
Please do.
So he's racing Jack Levin. It's still confusing to me that Jack Levin is such a big part of this show.
It's confusing to me because I keep thinking I'm watching some kind of weird 90s anime. I get very confused.
It's 2003.
It is, but it stinks of like early 90s.
Yeah, it kind of does.
The character designs are very, very early 90s.
I mean, a lot of these character designs do come straight from F-Zero X, which was what, like 97, 98?
That's true.
So Ryu gets ahead of Jack, and he immediately eats shit.
Yeah, Ryu sucks at driving. Whoever unfroze him.
I love that he talks shit and then he eats shit, like, immediately. Everybody kind of rushes over to make sure he's okay. And then we go back to the what is this? It's like the base?
HQ?
Yeah, where Jack is, I guess, sleeping in his car while Dr. Clash is working on a car next to it. He's like yelling at Dr. Clash for being loud working on a car, but it's like, why are you sleeping here in what is clearly the engineering area?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys have a barracks or something.
Or did he have to hospitalize himself to get a bed?
It is New York.
That's true. I forgot it was New York.
New York.
I mean, yeah, it's Mute City, but they told us in episode 1 it was New York. Jack and Dr. Clash have a little conversation about how Jack is a jealous little bitch baby.
Yeah, because Jody's too busy yelling at Ryu for being a sucky driver.
Yeah, and Jack wants that yellins.
Direct your aggression at me, mommy.
I don't think there's any connection at all between Jack and Jody in the games. I don't think they know each other.
Well, they had to introduce a love triangle because otherwise, why would people watch?
That's true. Like I don't know why they chose. I'm sure we talked about this last episode. I don't know why they put Jack in here. He's just in the games. He's just a pop star. That's his whole thing.
He's still that, but he's also like a
policeman,
driver man cop dude.
Yeah, it's so strange. Anyway, Mr. EAD runs in, saying that Jody is in a call with the director. Mr. EAD was in the last episode, but he didn't have any lines.
Oh, so we get some voice actor.
Yeah, we get to
knowledge.
find out who played him. So Mr. EAD is played by Yasunobu Iwata, who also plays Samurai Goro and Baba in this show.
Cool.
He didn't have a super big filmography. There wasn't anything that I recognized really, but he's apparently best known for playing Gambino in Berserk: The Egg of the King.
Cool. Do you think he laid the egg himself?
Yes. I don't know. Oh, he played. I was going to say, I don't know who he played, and then I remembered it said he played Gambino. So I was going to say.
Didn't play the egg.
I did look up The Egg of the King. It's horrendous to look at.
Oh, now I need to know.
Do you want me to find it for you?
If a quick Google image search does not do it for me. The Egg of the King. Is it that red thing? Oh, it's got a face.
It's got a face.
Cool.
I didn't know it was red. I only saw a picture of it from the manga.
Oh. I've seen this face before somewhere.
On The Egg of the King.
Oh, yeah, that's gotta be it. I want to get that tattooed on my neck.
I want to get it tattooed on my face. Like, over my face. So it's the exact Egg of the King. When I close my eyes and my mouth, it's just the Egg of the King.
That's a very confusing image.
People will be like, where did Mike go?
Why am I talking to the Egg of the King?
In English, Mr. EAD is played by Wayne Grayson, who is known as the voice of Michelangelo in the 4Kids Ninja Turtles show, Joey Wheeler in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Wait a sec. I think I might have been in the vicinity of this person a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When we were at the Comic-Con thing, I'm pretty sure he was one of the voice actors there.
Oh, interesting.
Because I saw a big picture of Joey Wheeler. I was like, that's the only character I recognize.
Oh, he's also apparently played a lot of one-off characters in Pokemon. But he played Lance in it, and he was Butler in the Jirachi movie. That was the villain.
Oh.
And he's apparently also the voice of Peso in Octonauts. He's a little penguin guy. I looked him up. He's cute.
That's cute.
Octonauts is pretty cute. I've never seen it, but I've seen a lot of merchandise. Sonic
How
Ring.
dare your phone? This
Listen.
is so unprofessional. That was only half a joke.
I know. I can tell. So Jack is worried that Jody might get fired for Ryu being a bad driver.
Yeah, because they're wasting time and resources on this man who clearly sucks.
Do they actually explain why it was him?
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either.
He's got beef with Zoda.
But it seems like lots of people should have beef with Zoda.
Yeah, we'll get to Zoda.
Oh yeah, we will. I have a lot of questions.
I have many questions.
So Jodie and Dr. Stewart are explaining themselves to John Tanaka, who's sitting at a big desk. So I guess he's the director.
I just like that you know their names because we aren't given them.
No, well, we were given them in the first episode.
We're,
It's just
we're
been a
hard
while.
It's been a long time, and I didn't bother to learn them back then.
No, I know them because I know these are all playable characters in the game. So
Yeah. But it's kind of the Mortal Kombat thing where they just expect you to be read up on the lore by now.
yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not too important that we know John Tanaka's name here. He shows
No,
up for this scene and then he goes away.
but things like Mr. EAD, that's a sight to behold. I was scared and confused every time he showed up.
Oh, so yeah, I guess they didn't. I guess they will explain Mr. EAD as the show goes on, but they haven't explained him yet. Do you know anything about Mr. EAD?
Not a thing.
So he's a robot built, I guess, for racing. He's called Mr. EAD because EAD is the name of the studio that made the game within Nintendo.
Hmm.
And that's also why he has a Mario-esque face and a Starman on his belt.
Cool.
And I mean, that's basically it. It's not like F-Zero characters have much backstory.
That's true. Hey, Zoda's got all this backstory, and I have no idea why.
And none of it is pertinent to the game. Like, I don't think Zoda was human in the game. I don't think he is from the past.
Well, that's why they had to turn him into a weird squiddly diddly alien man, so we don't ask questions.
Yeah, a lot of the backstory that the characters have here is made up for this show, because the games, they don't tell you a whole lot about the characters. They give you enough to make the characters interesting in the games, but not much more than that, you know?
Because they had to force this show to be an isekai.
Yeah. For no reason. Anyway,
I can't suspend my disbelief about this space car racing show.
So I looked into it because I never thought of John Tanaka as Jodie's boss. They work together. That's one of the few out of this entire group of people that are working together in the show. The only ones that canonically work together in the games are Jodie and John Tanaka.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and looked into it because I didn't remember him being her superior. I remember them being co-workers. There's nothing in the games I could find that says one way or the other, whether he's her boss or not, so...
These are some wild creative liberties they've taken.
Yeah, I mean, it could be true in the games. I always got the impression that she was higher up the chain than he was, because he's kind of like a goofy, useless guy. Jodie says that she'll take responsibility for Ryu's mistakes. Not sure
Yeah,
why.
they tell us that Ryu has caused a lot of trouble, but they don't expand on that.
Well, he's just
Except for he's crashing up all their cars.
He's crashing up all their cars. He's probably wrecked like $1 billion worth of vehicles. They can't be cheap.
That's why they have to keep racing because they have to pay off his crashed car debt. That's why Captain Falcon can't win the money.
They show Ryu a video to motivate him. They tell him about a prison on another planet where criminals are sent to cold sleep.
Where they specifically go and resurrect his arch enemy and turn him into a squiddly diddly alien.
Yeah, so apparently Black Shadow broke in 5 years ago and revived Zoda.
Specifically Zoda.
Specifically
we don't
Zoda.
see anybody else getting revived.
But why? Why was Zoda there?
I don't know. Why is he worth the trouble?
Why is he worth the trouble of resurrecting? Why was he worth the trouble of... Like, he was in prison on Earth, and they sent him to another planet to freeze him and keep him. Why?
So they could turn him into a squiddly diddly alien racer.
He'd be dead by now. if they hadn't put him in cold sleep.
They hadn't cryogenically suspended him on the Badman Naughty Planet.
Because I was thinking, like, okay, is the idea that they, like, freeze them, like, if they get a sentence that's longer than a life sentence, they freeze them so they can actually live out the whole sentence? But then what's the point of that? Because they're
not living through it.
Yeah, as far as they're concerned, they just went to sleep and woke up and their sentence is over. That's not punishment. That's a nap.
Well, it's been 200 years. You've been asleep for 198 of them. But anyway, here's our futuristic execution device, the Crusher.
We had to freeze you until we had an execution method painful enough for your crimes. Jody says that they're trying to win the races so that they can stop Black Shadow and his gang from winning the prize money to fund their evil operations. Aren't they the police?
That's not even the most pressing question I have. Why is an intergalactic criminal organization funded entirely by race winning?
Why can't the police simply arrive at the race and arrest Black Shadow and his minions?
Well, because they're not doing anything bad at the race. They just watched a video of them doing something bad.
Is the race like... Is it like international waters when you're on the F-Zero track?
Well, they do have to go to like another planet to race there, right?
That's true. Is it outside
like
their
Planet
jurisdiction?
Loop or something.
It was Nintendo something. It was like one syllable off being Nintendo. I can't remember what it was though.
Nintendo 64.
It was like Nintendo-ish or something. I can't remember. Having been shown a video of Zoda, some candid footage of Zoda being transformed, Ryu storms out to practice. And the whole time he's got Zoda's laugh in his head. He just can't get Zoda out of his mind.
Do you think he has a crush on Zoda?
Definitely. I didn't really understand what was happening during this scene because he, like, gives up, but then we see him doing it one more time.
Yeah. And then he gives up again.
Yeah.
And he goes to be sad at a cafe.
He does. He goes to Falcon House. A cafe that is for some reason built into an old London bus in New York.
Right, those are everywhere.
I think the designers of the show may have gotten their cities mixed up.
I mean, one major city, two major cities.
Red major city, blue major city.
Big Blue major city.
Oh my god. Do you think Big Blue will be in this show?
I hope so.
Me too.
If they're gonna put Nintendo 64 in there.
This is where Bart shows up.
Does he have a cow, man?
His name is Bart Lemming. He, it turns out, is the puppet guy that we saw at the end of episode 1 that we were very confused by.
Oh, I don't even remember that. I was so confused.
Yeah, at the very end of the first episode, there's a paper puppet guy who shows up to explain F-Zero to us, and we were both very confused about it. It turns out it's this guy.
Oh, okay. He's got a little side hustle in children's puppetry.
Yeah, he's got a couple side hustles.
Well, he hustled away from one of them when he turned bad. He did a bad turn, and now he doesn't race no more.
Well, so he says.
Oh. Oh, do you think he's the final villain of F-Zero?
Oh, I know who he is. Because I was trying to find out who his voice actor is, and I could not find it listed anywhere. And I was very confused. I was like, this guy seems like he's kind of a major character. He's doing the end of episode spiel, and he's here serving this coffee. He's in most episodes.
As the puppet man at the end?
No, as this guy. serving the coffee, because Ryu lives here. Ryu lives at Falcon House. That's not made clear to us here.
No, it's not. I was wondering how he had become a regular at this place.
Yeah, I found out on the internet that he is renting a room at Falcon House. Maybe he's not yet, but this is where he lives for most of the show. So it turns out the reason I couldn't find out who plays Bart Lemming is that we've already covered his voice actor because he is another character in the show.
Zoda?
No, he's not Zoda. It's do you want me to spoil it? Shall I give you the big spoiler reveal that we're not supposed to know yet?
Yeah, I want you to spoil it. You think I'm going to remember this for episode 3?
This is Captain Falcon.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I couldn't find out the voices, because it's the same guy who plays Captain Falcon.
Oh, okay.
Elsewhere in the coffee shop, there are a bunch of girls who are geeking out about Jack Lemmon.
Yeah, F-Zero races.
One of those girls is more heavily designed than the others.
She gets more screen time.
She stood out like a sore thumb against the others.
Yeah.
I like her design. I'm not saying she's like overly designed, but it was just funny, like these.
We know who the important one
Yeah,
is.
it's like these 3 very plain girls, and then this one girl who is clearly main character material.
You know how in old-timey cartoons you can tell which part, like which item they're about to use because everything else is painted much nicer?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. So this is Lucy Liberty, who in Japanese is played by Nana Mizuki, known for playing Hinata in Naruto, Colette in Tales of Symphonia, Anne in Persona 5. She was Paz in Metal Gear. She's Catherine in Catherine. And apparently she's the Japanese dub voice of Katniss in the Hunger Games movies.
Okay.
So she's pretty accomplished. She's done a lot.
Yeah, she's been a voice.
In English, she's played by Amy Birnbaum, who was Taya in Yu-Gi-Oh! She was Max in Pokemon. She is Charmy Bee in Sonic X and the Shadow the Hedgehog game. When we talked about the Kirby show, I mentioned that every now and then they would redub Kirby's voice, but I couldn't find out who it was that they used to do it.
Is it her?
It's her. It's Amy Birnbaum. She was the 4Kids Kirby voice when they couldn't use the Japanese lines for whatever reason.
Cool, because the Japanese lines were using too many cuss words.
And she also is the voice of Skelly the Skeleton in I Spy Spooky Mansion.
I don't know what that is, but I love it.
I do know what that is, and I love it. So yeah, Bart talks about how he used to race F-Zero, but stopped after having the exact same problem Ryu's having.
Do you think Captain Falcon stalks Ryu?
Yeah, I absolutely think that. Because there's no way he really had this exact problem.
Right.
He 100% is just telling Ryu. He's giving Ryu hints without Ryu knowing. He doesn't want Ryu to know that he's hinting things for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like starts trying to put morals in Ryu's head because this street gang drives by. And he starts talking about how there are like bad people in the world of F-Zero now, and there needs to be more good people to set them straight or whatever.
Yeah, racing's not about a bunch of punks in their loud cars. It's about honor.
Yeah. So Falcon House, I don't think we mentioned it, but Falcon House is explicitly a Captain Falcon museum / restaurant.
Yeah. But at the same time, there wasn't a lot of like actual Captain Falcon because there are photos on the wall of like Blue Falcon and races and the back of Captain Falcon's head.
Yeah, you'd think, you know, with the knowledge that this is Captain Falcon running the place, you'd think he'd be able to get some better photos of himself.
If Spider-Man can get good pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah, right? Just take a selfie, Bart. It's fine.
Of the future, is it not ready for the selfie stick?
It's good, it's funny, it's topical. Um,
Oh, please kill me.
never.
You have to release me from this curse.
I'm the one who trapped you in this form.
I know, I don't enjoy it. This Pikachu cannot appease me for long.
Appeased Kachu?
The No, it's stupid. It's stupid. Put it away.
Too late, you laughed. I got you.
Put it back in your mouth.
Put the laugh back in your mouth.
I will.
Oh, fuck. All right, here we go.
Thank you.
What the fuck were we talking about?
I don't know.
Oh. So it turns out that Bart Lemming isn't even Captain Falcon's true identity. This is like a third identity he has on the go.
This man has a dream.
Yeah, so I won't talk about his other identity at all. If you listening are really interested to know, then you can go away and look it up. But yeah, he's Captain Falcon. He also has his true identity. And then he has Bart Lemming, which is another fake identity. Jody's giving a briefing about the next race. And Ryu walks in and just finds it happening, and he's mad they didn't tell him about it.
They didn't hide it very well from him.
I don't think they were trying to hide it. I think they just... It's worse than that. Like, it's when you walk in and your friends are making plans that they just haven't involved you in. You know? And they don't even care. They weren't trying to hide it.
That's why I thought that they were trying to hide it a little bit, because they're like, Ryu, you're not ready. You stink at turns. So, like, why... Just don't let him see it.
I don't know. Well, what if they did it publicly on purpose? To
hurt him?
Yeah, to try and make him feel bad so he'd try harder.
Maybe they wanted him to get angry and go cop real hard.
Oh,
go out and be a super policeman, bust up the gang that shows up that they definitely didn't know about.
Or care about. Like, we're explicitly told they don't care about that gang.
Yeah. We don't care. We've got a race to win.
Yeah. So Ryu begs to go with them. Everyone says no. Everyone says no. Not just Jody. Then Ryu goes back to the place where he goes to think about the past. The one thing that hasn't changed since 200 years ago, and that he knew that somehow. Remember that?
Yeah.
He just disappeared into the city. And then they were like, we knew we'd find you here because it's the one place that hasn't changed in 200 years. And it's like, but how would he know that?
He just woke up. This is literally the only place he remembers. This is the place with the tragic death of his girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah, so he goes and he remembers a time when he watched his girlfriend struggle with a bunch of bags on a ship while he watched with nothing in his hands and did nothing.
This will make you stronger.
Like, I think she's supposed to be feeding the birds, but she's holding like 3 bags and struggling with them. And he's just standing there with his hands in his pockets watching.
To be fair, the birds she's feeding are seagulls. Maybe he didn't want to participate in that kind of delinquent activity.
Yeah, that is really dumb. Or was she just being swarmed by seagulls and he was just watching?
Give him the groceries! Make them leave! His hands were empty because he'd already surrendered their giant baguette.
He goes driving, I guess, and he spots Lucy and her friends going in the opposite direction on a bus. I don't know how he spots a single person on a bus. I wouldn't be able to do
No,
that. That
unless
must,
they're sticking out of the window.
yeah.
And also, you'd have to both be going pretty slowly for you to even register what their face looks like driving in opposite
And
directions.
these are future cars. Like, the bus goes over a loop after this. So
Show off.
it drives to space.
Yeah, yes, it does. I like how before everybody goes and heads off to the race, they're talking about how there's like a loop-de-loop and how treacherous it is. And then this public transportation just takes it no problem.
Just drives to space. Like, there's just a road that rockets up into space. Anyway, the gang from earlier are following the bus, but and Ryu sees this gang following the bus, and then he, I guess, decides to also follow the bus.
Yeah, even though like actual policemen are there.
Yeah, but meanwhile, the bus has driven to space. It's it's now at a space station by a warp gate that's going to send them to the planet that the next race is on. And they go through it without issue. They end up on the new planet.
Hmm.
Lucy makes sure that we know that she is a massive F-Zero nerd. She's talking about how turned on she gets by the sound of the engines or whatever.
Yeah, she was going on for a while. I tuned it out.
Yeah, same. And then the next thing we hear is that the bus is under attack. Jodie and her crew are listening to a radio announcement that the bus is being attacked by a street gang.
Wouldn't it be helpful if we saw it happening with our own two eyes instead of hearing it through a third party?
No. Jack wants to go help the bus, but Lucy says no, and they have to. Lucy? Jodie says no, and says they have to leave it to the local police. Meanwhile, the gang spook the local police into a pileup by firing a rocket launcher near them.
Right. It doesn't show any destruction of the road. No cars get hit. They all just bump into each other and stop. Like the policemen get out of their cars.
Yeah, they all get out of their cars and then just stand there. Like, none of them are radioing for help. None of them are talking to each other even. They're all just standing there doing nothing.
Well, boys, they've gotten away with this one.
Do you think the explosion forced all of the policemen into a hard reset?
Maybe.
They're all standing there rebooting. But it's okay, because Ryu is here now.
Yeah, and he shows up and does diddly poop.
He shows up, gets out of his car, and tells the gang to stop it.
Yeah,
It
there's
does not
many
work.
of them, and they immediately surround him.
They immediately surround him, and just as they're getting ready to shoot him, Captain Falcon shows up and intimidates them all into fleeing with a long, hard stare. He literally just stares at the leader, and then they're all like, oh, shoot, I'm out of here.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything to them.
Nope, in fact, the only thing he says as Captain Falcon in this entire episode is, see you at the race, which he says to Ryu.
Which is him saying, you're gonna go to that goddamn race.
I want to stress that in this episode titled Captain Falcon, that is Captain Falcon's only line.
Yeah, but we saw the back of his head in a photograph.
Yes, that's true, and we will see his car in the race.
And he will lose like a loser.
No, he doesn't lose.
I was actually very confused by the outcome of that race.
Yeah, I know. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
So now we're at the race, suddenly. I don't know why the street gang were attacking the bus. Was it just for shits and gigs?
I guess they were just bored hoodlums.
I guess so. They wanted to blow up a bus full of people for the fun of it.
Yeah, that's what I like to do on Saturday evenings.
And now Lucy's at the race and she's looking out for Ryu's machine because she saw it. She saw it when he saved them from the bus load of nuns. What happened?
Save them from the nuns. Listen, I've seen that analog horror game about the scary nun.
I haven't.
You haven't?
No. When we're
It's
done,
called
show it to
Nun
me.
Massacre.
Okay, I'm gonna have a look when we're done.
When we're none.
That was like one of my jokes, but
But
except you
here,
did it.
it came out of my mouth. It tastes bad.
Yeah. You're sick enough to stoop to my level. Right at the last second before the race starts, I'm talking like last moment, Ryu joins the race. There's an empty spot for him, and he drives into it like literally as the guy says go.
Mhm. My favorite part is that Lucy and her gang, who are anticipating this car that they know for sure is going to be there, she's like, his car is so distinct, but I don't see it. I'm like, which part? Which part of his car is distinct?
Yeah, his car, what's it called? The White Dragon or something?
I don't know.
It is just a box. It is the least interesting F-Zero car design in the whole series.
Mhm.
Oh, is it the Dragon Bird? It might be the Dragon
Oh, I
Bird.
think it's the Dragon Bird.
Yeah, it is. It's the Dragon Bird. What a boring car.
You know what would have been even better? If he had one of those wacky racers F-Zero cars.
Which ones?
I don't know. I don't know their names. Just any of them. They were all great.
I
Wasn't there like a monster car? Like piloted by like Frankenstein and Dracula?
was
Maybe that was like a
oh
Scooby Doo knockoff.
no, it sounds familiar. Mostly I just remember the Anthill gang and obviously Dick Dastardly and Muttley had the best
Of
car.
course, of course.
Who else was there? There's Penelope Pitstop. I don't remember the guy, the like perfect guy. Was he like Roger Rocket or something? Or is that
I don't
something
remember
else?
their names.
No, me neither.
There is a monster car.
Yes,
I
because
don't
there's
know.
like there's two versions of Wacky Races. There's regular Wacky Races where it's all original characters, and then there's another version where it's all crossover characters. And there's like Yogi Bear in it and stuff.
Okay, it's the Creepy Coupe driven by the Gruesome Twosome.
Okay.
The Turbo Terrific driven by Peter Perfect.
Peter Perfect is who I was thinking of. Okay.
The Arkansas Chugabug driven by Luke and Blubber Bear.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's the Anthill Mob driving the Bulletproof Bomb.
Yeah.
The Boulder Mobile driven by the Slag Brothers. Let's stop talking about wacky racers.
Should we just make this a Wacky Races episode instead?
I would love that. What if we just watched an episode of Wacky Races but gave them the names of the F-Zero racers?
What if we watched an episode of Wacky Races and we act as though, because there's definitely a Wacky Races video game, at least one. What if we just watch an episode of Wacky Races and talk as though the game came first? And we see how many angry comments we get of people being like, no, it was a show like in the 60s.
There are 2 Wacky Races video games.
Are
There's
there?
a 1991 one and a 2001.
I found 3 more, but they all have subtitles. Anyway, where are we? What's happening?
Dick Dastardly and Muttley have pulled up to the finish line.
No, we can't do this. Oh, the race is happening.
That's what I said.
And Ryu remembers what Bart told him, and then he remembers Zoda's laugh. And those two pieces of information combined allow him to overcome his problem.
They allow him to turn real good.
Yeah, and he hits the boost.
He uses the boost to get through.
He got boost power. The whole episode stops for a moment when he hits the boost. to give it more impact. I thought that was pretty good.
I didn't.
No, you didn't like it?
I didn't like it because this whole race is over in like a single lap and about 30 seconds of runtime.
That's true. But do we really want to see like 10 minutes of a race? I don't.
I just want racky races. I just want wacky races back.
So you want us to like cut away to Zoda and Black Shadow setting up a trap on the course?
Yes.
And then we see that backfire.
What about that doesn't sound good?
It actually sounds a lot like the cutscenes from F-Zero GX, which is not a complaint.
Zoda's setting up a trap and Bio-Rex accidentally drives into it.
Oh, the more you say it, the more I want F-Zero to be more like wacky races. So the race just becomes basically a competition between Ryu, Jack, and Captain Falcon.
Yeah, they don't even pretend to care about the rest of the racers.
No, I don't think we even really see anybody else. I guess we see a little bit of some of the other crew members.
Yeah, we see them in like flash cuts when they're surprised about the fact that Jack blew up.
Yeah, Jack, they go over a jump and then Jack swerves to avoid landing his car on Ryu's car and crashes.
Which sounds like a fool move to me.
And Ryu slows down a bit because he's worried about Jack, which allows Falcon to take the lead, winning the race.
See, that's what I had thought, but like the dialogue later seemed to imply that Captain Falcon did not win.
It's confusing. Yeah, no, because Jack said he didn't want Captain Falcon to win, but Captain Falcon did still win, I believe.
Yeah, they don't want him to get that money for some reason.
I had to watch it twice to make sure.
I meant to watch it again, but yesterday was Loopy Day.
Every day's Loopy Day in this house. So Jody comes and yells at Ryu for disobeying, and Dr. Stewart blames him for making Drac crash.
Dracula! It is wacky races!
You've got me thinking about Draculas.
When am I not thinking about Draculas?
So anyway, as they pull Jack out of the crash, he throws Jody a ship part and says that he sabotaged Ryu's ship.
This thing is the size of a battery, and not a car battery.
Yeah, I guess the implication is that that's a piece of Ryu's ship that Jack took out to sabotage it. And he says that
we're not told what it's supposed to be.
No, but that's how I understood it.
I mean, that's how I understand it, but like the fact that they were keeping it so deliberately vague was infuriating.
Probably because
come up with some technobabble.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably because they don't know anything about engineering and they didn't want anyone else to know that they didn't.
They're space race cars.
Because literally all
Just
he
call
says
a turbo carb or spacerator.
Like, literally all he says is like, you should be able to tell what that is, doesn't he, or something?
And it's just like a AAA battery.
So yeah, he says that Ryu would have won the race if he hadn't sabotaged his ship. And Ryu punches Jack, and then Jack gets taken away in an ambulance, and everyone's talking in disbelief about how they can't believe that Jack sabotaged his ship, and Jodie is like, that's just how Jack works. I was like,
kind of put up with him being mildly evil.
Yeah, it was just, sure, he ruined the plan for no reason, but whatever, we love him.
Well, look at that face. You can't hate him. He's so pointy.
So in the hospital, Jack is entertaining all the nurses, who are all fans of his. Jodie shows up with some flowers and tells him that she knows the part that he gave her was from his ship, not Ryu's ship. I was a little confused about what was going on, but
Jack, who had crashed his ship, grabbed a part of that crashed ship from the rubble and pretended it was Ryu's.
yes.
I was like, why did anyone fall for that farce? He just came out of a pile of car parts.
Well, clearly Jodie didn't fall for it for a second.
Did she? Did
I
she
don't know.
not? I don't know.
I mean,
She did punch him.
no, it was Ryu that punched him.
Oh, I thought she did.
Yeah, because it's really poorly staged. So I
Oh
had
yeah,
to.
it was for kids.
Yeah. Well, not yet. At this point, it's the Japanese animator's fault.
Oh, that's right. That's right. See,
But
now I'm getting it confused because it's been a week of turmoil.
I literally I had to pause the episode to see exactly what happened because we just see it cuts to behind Jack, a close up of his back, and then he falls down out of frame. And for a split second, him falling down out of frame reveals what's in front of him. And
Captain Falcon.
Jodie is in the middle of the screen, which makes it look like she's the one who hits him.
Mm-hmm.
But if you pause it and look at what's happening, Jodie is actually holding back Ryu, who has his fist out towards Jack. It's
If you
real hard
stop
to read.
frame by frame, you
Yeah.
can find out the real culprit.
And like because because he's got his fist outstretched towards us, the viewer, there's no easily readable silhouette that he's punching either.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pause it and look. This is a sight gag for people with VCRs. It was badly staged.
Yeah, it wasn't very clear.
So anyway, Jodie thanks Jack for giving Ryu confidence, like Helmut Spargel's secret ingredient.
Which is just drugs.
Yeah.
But this time it's lies.
This time it's lies. Yeah, he gave Ryu confidence by lying about what happened.
He gave him a jar of sweet nothings.
Ryu arrives back at HQ where Lucy approaches from the shadows and says that she's decided to join the mobile task force. Can you just decide that?
That is my question as well. Don't we need to be like accepted and like go
Yeah,
through training and
the mobile task force, I thought, was an elite division of the police. And as far as I can tell, Lucy Liberty is not a police person in general, let alone an elite one.
it's an elite division of the police, plus some guy they pulled out of a freezer, and this girl that really likes F-Zero.
And a pop star.
The pop star.
And a robot.
I think we're beginning to see the cracks in the foundation.
In this final shot, there's like this long zoom out. She says she's decided to join the mobile task force, and then there's a long zoom out of Ryu just staring at her while she stands in front of him. And during that entire shot, which goes on for a little bit too long, in my opinion, I was distracted the whole time by a teeny tiny person in the background.
Why would they include that?
I don't know. It was a teeny tiny little person with a big straw hat on.
Just chewing the scenery.
And I was like, I had so many questions because, first of all, like, aren't we inside the Mobile Task Force HQ right now?
That's one of their elite beat agents, obviously.
I guess so. Anyway, that's the end. We get our preview of the next episode, which looks like it's all about Lucy and is finally going to actually have Zoda in it.
Yeah, I blacked out watching that part.
Oh, okay. So
It just would not compute.
there was did you not see the next part after it? Where Puppet Bart Lemming comes back?
I think I did, but I can't recall.
Puppet Bart Lemming shows up again to tell us some facts about what he describes as the best F-Zero pilot, Captain Falcon, and how nobody knows his true identity. And then he goes on to advertise his Captain Falcon themed restaurant. With the knowledge that this is Captain Falcon, It's very like self-promoty, you know?
Yeah, that's why he had to come up with an alter ego, so it didn't feel quite so hackneyed.
Oh, maybe that's what we need to do.
Yeah,
We need to make
we gotta
some
get sock puppet accounts.
sock puppet accounts to promote ourselves.
He's literally a sock puppet.
Yep. Should we talk about the dub?
Let's do it.
Here's the theme song.
It is now 2201. Radical advances in transportation technology have transformed the world. Interplanetary travel has put mankind in touch with new planets, new life forms, new dangers. And a thrilling new sport grips the galaxy, fueled by fans across the universe and driven by the need for speed.
I hate it.
I'll take your word for it.
They retitled it. It's no longer called Captain Falcon. It's now called The Racer's Edge.
Dun, dun, dun.
And it aired on Foxbox on September 25th, 2004. Just like the last episode, maddening 4Kids soundtrack.
Slide whistles galore.
No, it's all guitars and stuff and like electronic. It's like techno music, but it's like unhinged.
Yeah, we're in the future. We listen to techno music and rock guitars in the future.
It's bad. But the worst part is that the mixing is bad. So the music like drowns out the lines, and I don't know enough about sound production to know like fully why this is the case or what's wrong with it. And it's not just a problem for this show, it's like all of the 4Kids shows from this period. It's like Sonic X and everything as well. But the music all has this tinny quality to it, like you're listening to it from the speaker on like an MP3 player or something.
Mm-hmm.
From the time
that you got turned up way too loud.
Yeah. The music all sounds like that, and it gives me a headache very quickly. And it's weird because it's not the quality of the video because the voices sound fine. It's only the music that sounds like they recorded it from like a Furby speaker.
One more on it, do it.
They probably did, because if they had to completely redub the soundtrack, just like, let's get some guys on the cheap to play their guitars into this tin can.
Yeah, I guess so. All of the dialogue, as last time, is much more aggressive, both in writing and delivery.
It's extreme.
Yeah, that like all the in the dub, all the characters treat each other like garbage. It seems like everybody hates each other. And it grates on you so quickly. Everyone is constantly angry, especially Rick. He is so mad and unlikable.
I mean, I can see that.
And he's not that likable even in the Japanese version.
No, he's super boring. At least he's angry.
I prefer him being boring than constantly angry at nothing.
No, me too. That sounds irritating.
In the dub, Tanaka, during the meeting, suggests that they should kill Rick.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
He doesn't use the word kill, he uses the word unanimate, but that's basically the implication.
Maybe we should quietly deanimate Wheeler.
We should unalive Rick.
They also talk a lot about how there's like a higher up who's breathing down Tanaka's neck. I don't remember them mentioning that in the original.
Mm-mm.
Bart is called Bert in the dub, which seems to be a mistake by the translators. And there are some shots where they edited the mouth movements to match the English dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
I first noticed it in Lucy's first close-up, but it happens in a bunch of shots of Bart as well. They've edited the mouth so that it opens and closes fully, very, very quickly for every single syllable of the English line.
That sounds like it looks real good.
It's extremely noticeable and it looks really bad. Because not only, like, it's also a much higher frame rate than the rest of the show.
Right.
So, you see it immediately.
Weird.
It looks so bad. I think they actually kept the Street Gang's novelty car horns, but it's really hard to tell because they're drowned out by the new 4Kids music that they've layered over it.
Maybe the new 4Kids music is being played from the speakers of the Hoodlum Gang.
No, they'd sound better. The part when the bus is under attack, in the 4Kids version, Jack is a lot more casual about wanting to help the bus. In the original, he actually says, like, we need to go help them. But in the 4Kids version, his line is,
maybe I'll have a look-see.
So his angry reaction when he's told no just comes across as him being mad about being told what to do, not him being mad that he can't go and help people.
Right. Maybe we'll go help this bus full of civilians.
But it didn't even say. He just wanted to have a look. It's just like, oh, maybe I'll go I'll go watch that. No, you can't do that.
I could kill a couple minutes before the big race.
The music is so bad. It's so bad. I thought Sonic X was the worst 4Kids music, like, of all of their dubs. But this is even worse than Sonic X. It's unbearable. Oh, also, they cut the shot where Jody slaps Rick after the race.
I'm not surprised about that at all.
But they didn't cut the part where Rick punches Jack.
To be fair, nobody could parse that scene.
True. But to me, I was just like, oh, I see. So they'll always cut female on male violence, but not male on male violence.
Okay, men are allowed to hit other men. It's healthy.
But
that's how they express emotions.
Because the same thing, the first episode of Pokemon 4Kids cut out Misty slapping Ash.
Yes, they did.
And now here they are cutting out Jody slapping Rick. They don't like to see a woman hit a guy.
It reminds them too much of their home life.
Also, in the dub, Jody immediately outs Jack as lying about the sabotage to the whole team.
Thereby undoing whatever Jack was trying to do.
Yeah. In the original, she keeps it between them, but yeah, in the dub, she just straight up says, like, the part where she says that's just how Jack operates. Instead, in the dub, she's like,
Jack did something that put Rick in grave danger.
Or at least he said he did.
No nuance, no subtlety.
yeah. And that's it. That's all the big differences. Basically, it's a different show. It's a different... This show that already isn't great is less likable in English.
Thanks, 4Kids.
Legacy.
Of this episode?
Of this specific episode, yeah, because Lucy Liberty would go on to become a playable character in the next 2 F-Zero games released after this. They are both set within the anime universe, though, so they have all of the anime characters in them. I think the first one is actually an adaptation of the anime, and then the second one is a sequel to the anime.
Sequel.
Yeah.
Now we gotta watch the whole anime so we can play F-Zero real good.
F-Zero Climax. It never came out in English.
Climate change.
Yeah, they didn't even bother releasing F-Zero Climax in English because only the first 15 episodes of the anime got dubbed, so
We'll figure it out.
we wouldn't have known what was going on anyway. So, what did you think? What are your opinions on F-Zero Lap 2?
Not a good episode.
No,
It wasn't a good episode.
was not a good episode. I want this show to be good. I like the characters of F-Zero.
I mean, I enjoy how bad it is. Like, it's not so bad that I don't want to keep watching. It's just bad enough that I enjoy it for its badness.
Okay. Has there been a show yet that was so bad we didn't want to keep watching?
I think, yeah, well, Hametsu no Mars will not allow us to keep watching.
That's true.
But if it did, I wouldn't want to.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like there's been. Well, I think what happens is that we watch it and we're like, ugh, this was painful. But then months will pass and it has, like, implanted into us. It's grown on us.
That's true.
We're like, hey, we should watch that Frogger again.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. You can find us at patreon.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub if you would like to support the show and do things like request episodes from us or hear things that I cut from the show because they weren't super relevant.
Because they weren't ripe yet, and they were also very dumb.
Sometimes that. You can also find us at coffee.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub or on Twitter at sbreakfastfc. My name is Skull Pirate Mike, and I stream on Twitch, and I make comics and things. You should come and find me on Twitter, where I post things that I've done occasionally.
Yeah, you should do that.
You can't find Mel on the internet, because Mel is a force, not a person.
A force to be reckoned with. Also, I've been banned from the internet for my internet crimes.
Oh no. Which ones?
The DDoS I launched by downloading too many pictures of chubby Pikachu.
Bye.
People need to know about wacky races.